Good evening, General Sharma. Good evening,
Evening.
Gunjan. It's good to see you guys. I mean, it's so nice to meet every 6 months or so at a Horasis meet, and I hope you had a good journey back from. Are you coming from?
I came from Delhi and I came by London.
Okay, and Gunjan, you
From all the way from
all
San
the way from
Francisco.
California. Okay, I know we've got a little time before we head on to the main session, and I just thought a very teaser question today would be about global transparency, about its impact and relationship with commerce as well as national security. And I saw that Metric Stream recently concluded a GRC summit in Vegas where they had invited General Colin Powell for it. And that's the national security part of it. So, General, since you come from that side,
Okay.
would you like to throw your thoughts on the global transparency and the linkages it has with the national security?
Yeah, thank you, Neeraj. First of all, a lot of regards for Colin Powell, one of the great journals American Army has produced, and we look up to him for a lot of advice on leadership, and I really am fond of him. Coming back to the India question, I must say that whenever there is a security environment which is secure, businesses thrive in that. And whenever there is internal problems or external problems, it scares away capital, it scares the business people. And security paradigm is not about just looking at the borders. It's an overall security framework. It involves things like energy security, population security, economic security, geopolitical stability. Entire environment has to mesh together to create a secure environment for business to thrive. And the army or the armed forces is one component of the national power and national security. And transparency is very important because that gives you the feel as to how secure is that region and what are the policies towards the neighbor and how it's going through to that. To that extent, I would say that the Indian Defence Forces are contributing a lot to creating a very secure environment for India and for the Indian subcontinent, and therefore they've got a big role to play, and I think things are looking good now.
Good evening, Gunjan Sinha, Chairman of Metric Stream, and a company that is leading this initiative of governance, risk, and compliance. My question to you is, this whole GRC is becoming a little synonymous with Metric Stream and you personally. And my question to you is, how did you get into this long-driven quest, crusade, if I will use the word rather than a business in regard to risk, transparencies, and compliance? What were the driving forces that you're so passionately involved in this crusade?
Thanks for raising the question here because this is, very near and dear to me. The whole issue of risk intelligence and how does one build an infrastructure, a global infrastructure where risk, the insights into risk, the transparencies are actually visible well ahead of problems before they emerge, well before countries go into war or before problems happen.
Absolutely.
How do you detect scenarios and situations? And this transcends not just the commercial sector, it goes into the government and intergovernmental discussions. So for example, at Metric Stream, we've been very busy building out that infrastructure globally and working with some of the major corporations around the world, but now also with major governments around the world to help them think about the basic elements of global governance, risk management, and compliance. And how do you really build an infrastructure which delivers that level of risk intelligence, not just at the perimeter, but around holistically in a 360-degree framework, as General you pointed out. How do you do that? And you have to tie in things coming from national security, cyber security. You have to look at challenges from human networks.
Absolutely.
There's a whole issue brewing around global supply chains.
Absolutely.
Corruption, foreign corrupt practices,
Right.
and things of that nature which corrupt, supply chains and creates imbalances and creates deficits and challenges. We have to understand these things very holistically and globally and create an environment which fosters real flow of transparency and information and real insight around risk intelligence known to all key actors globally. And that's what the journey is, and that's where the passion is. And I believe that Metric Stream is on that journey. But I also believe that we are finally seeing corporations as well as governments finally realizing, and I've had conversations with even senior execs and senior government officials in India, that they're recognizing now the value of these things. So it's just a matter of time now.
I have, gentlemen, I have a very simple question, but one that I am often asked in various forums around the world. There is a wrong notion, if I may use the word, of risk. Entrepreneurship or going forward, there is a big difference between taking risk and managing risk. And I thought this would be a good time to ask me this question, that are we talking about managing risks here? Or are we talking about taking risks here? And when we talk about commerce, global trade, or entrepreneurship for that matter. Just your very quick thoughts before we wrap up this session.
Yeah, Neeraj, I would like to say that first thing is that neither are we talking about managing risk or taking risk. The first point which Gunjan brought about and which I brought about is understanding the risk environment. Understanding the various facets of risk which are there in business to do so. Once you understood the risk, then if you've got a good risk appetite and you're able to mitigate those risks, then your business will thrive, because thriving on risk is something which business will understand, provided they understand the complete circle of the risks are there. Like you said, there are energy risks, there are political risks, there are economic risks, there are population risks. So once you understand those complete geopolitical risks management, then we're able to address them one by one properly. And my point about one more thing which I want to bring out is that risk management involves authentic understanding of data. And therefore, all experts who are there in various fields, once they interpret the data correctly, we can arrive at what we call risk intelligence in a very transparent and on a holistic manner. Then we are able to sit together and create for our businesses the kind of environment which is relevant to do business in that kind of country environment.
Thank you, General. Thank you very much.
And just to add on the point that the General just made here, I believe in the world in which we are living now, with the amount and volume of data that exists, you know, we have the intelligence. The intelligence exists of where things can potentially go wrong. What can be the next economic crisis? Where would the next economic crisis come from? Where would be the next national security, the threats come from? What are the kinds of human networks which have to be understood to understand what are the current and present danger or risks in the system? But putting focus behind understanding this data and making sense out of that needs to be an infrastructural quest for governments and businesses alike. And I think that's when you do that well, then automatically that risk intelligence gets built in, which then gives you the foundation to do the right set of things, take the right set of remedial actions in the framework of your risk appetite. That is what this is all about. So this is really not about trying to either say that you should not take risk or you should take risk. In fact, all you're doing is saying your understanding of risk is getting improved through this process.
Absolutely.
Very good. I think I can pick on three words that comes out of both of yours answers. One is understanding of risk, and when you understand risk, you can thrive on risk. So gentlemen, that's a very interesting perspective that you guys shared with us on this, and hope you have a good stay here in Belfast, and see you in one of the future Horasis meets very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gunjan. Thank you, General.
Thank you.